Hello, welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and today's video is an alternate video card ideas using the December 2022 Paper Pumpkin Kit. All good things come in small packages. Because this is an alternates video, I am actually starting with some product that I'm going to be bringing in to work with my kit. This is called the Adorable Owl stamp set. This is a Sale-a-Bration stamp set. This is going to be available in January, and there you could see the brochure and the catalog. Those launched January 5th. I'm going to be showing the Paper Pumpkin kit here. Isn't that an adorable? That's a specialty box. And I also want to talk about the coordinating colors. These are the water painters. That's one of the tools I'm going to be bringing in for this alternate so that we can watercolor our owls. I like to color on clear blocks. This really large block that I don't typically use for many things, I do like to use it when I am coloring with water painters. Now, our coordinating colors for this kit, Garden Green is the color that actually came in the kit, but we're also going to be doing Balmy Blue, Tahitian Tide, Blushing Bride, Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry rather, and Basic Gray. There's actually a lot of Basic Gray in here. So what I'm doing is showing you the full-size ink pad versus the ink spot. When I work with alternate projects and alternate videos, I start bringing in my own tools. But of course, if you want to stick to the instructions and working with the Paper Pumpkin box, you could do that too. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I am starting to color the owls, and I'm going to edit this video a little bit differently. It is slightly sped up, and because I was coloring a whole set of owls and I was using very similar colors for each owl, like the base colors of the owl are the same for all 8 of them. I just kind of skipped ahead a little bit. So you'll see me coloring 1 or 2, and then we'll just sort of jump ahead. So I just wanted to prepare you for that. But what we're doing here is I knew when I saw the stamp set that I wanted to add a character. And it's entirely up to you whether or not you want to use all words in your kit. The December kit was intended to create these little gift boxes for gift cards. And I can pop a picture up to show you what those look like. And I will have video and pictures of all of the projects in the end. I did make the original 3, or I think it was 4 boxes. I did one alternate box on a Facebook Live video on my business page, but for the alternates video, which is what you're seeing here, this is actually an original video, meaning I did not do this on Facebook Live first. Now, one of the mistakes that I made here is that I did not dry my layer before I started the next one. So I'm using Sahara Sand and Crumb Cake for the base colors of each owl. And what was happening was the Crumb Cake and the Sahara Sand were starting to bleed together. And that was because I'm coloring them, very close in time frame, and the other color hadn't had a chance to dry. So when it's still watery like that, the color will move or it'll start to bleed through the lines, right? So this is one of those things that I sort of had to adapt to it, because when I started doing this, I really wasn't focused on time. I didn't realize how much I was sort of speeding through it. So I did get my heat tool, and you can use your heat tool to speed up the drying process if you're going to be coloring your owls this way. Now, of course, you can use your Stampin' Blends, you can use watercolor pencils, you could use whatever technique or medium you prefer when you're coloring images like this one. But I wanted to do watercolor because to me, it's a little bit faster if you're doing a lot of them. And I knew I was going to be doing a whole set of cards using these owls. I happened to get my Adorable Owls stamp set the same day that I got my Paper Pumpkin kit. And I just, looking at the themes, I was like, these were meant to go together. So the December kit, the stamp set, is all words. And that is because it was intended to be a gift card, little gift set kit. But I planned on turning those projects into cards. I was going to take the pieces from the kit and turn them into cards that could coordinate with the boxes or be sort of similar in theme to the boxes. Now this is Calypso Coral. This is with the thinnest of the three brushes, like the detail brush. And I decided to use Calypso Coral for the feet and for the beaks of all of the owls. So again, this is consistent with all 8 owls. And then I do vary their eye color, and then the bow ties. And I think the birthday hats, I actually stuck with the same colors. And by the time I got to the birthday hats, I did add just a tiny little bit of Stampin' Blends because I had already used my water painter so many times, and I really needed to go and clean them. But I just decided to, speed up the process by adding a little bit of Stampin' Blends there in the end. But you can see how these owls are starting to come together. And I did want to spend a little bit of time on them. Now this is Garden Green. For the eyes, I did a combination of Garden Green for several of the owls, and then I did Tahitian Tide for a couple of the owls, and I did Crushed Curry for the eyes for a couple of the owls. And that was just to try to make them look, unique and different, like that we could tell that they were different owls. I think there's only one card where I used 2 of them on the same card, but in any event, I wanted a little bit of variety there, and I thought that the eyes were the best way to do that. So what I did was I cut that panel in half as I'm working here. I'm using a tiny bit of Blushing Bride inside the ears of the owls, but honestly, it's not necessary. I just wanted to add a little touch of color there. Really wanted to sort of bring them to life, how I could. And I will be fussy cutting out these owls. If you do not want to fussy cut the owls, the little sideways owl and the little bow tie owl will fit in the circle. The one with the birthday hat is a little bit long. So if you just want to stamp them onto the circle and color that way, you can, but just keep in mind, I am stamping and coloring these owls on watercolor paper because I knew I was going to be using a lot of color, like a lot of water. I was going to be using the water painters, so it's up to you. I did use watercolor paper just for the owls. The die cuts that come in the Paper Pumpkin kit, they're nice. They're great. They're a nice bright white, but they're very thin, and I don't recommend water unless you're barely using it. So it's up to you. You could test it out, but in that case, I would actually recommend the blends before doing any watercolor. Now, in the same vein as that, I also used StazOn ink, and StazOn ink is a solvent ink, and that makes it easy to work with water, meaning that whenever you're coloring with water over this StazOn ink, it will not bleed or fade or anything like that. Now, that's not necessarily true with the Stampin' Blend, so I was barely trying to touch it. I really didn't want to touch it because the blends are not designed to go with StazOn ink. The blends are supposed to be used with Memento Tuxedo black ink, which is a different type of ink, and they don't bleed with that. Now this is my Stampin' Write marker in black, and what I wanted to do was, after I had done all of that detail work with the owls, I wanted to kind of revive the eyes a little bit. I just wanted to make them very vibrant. I really wanted to make it distinct against the color, the watercolor of the green, the yellow, and the blue. And I love the way that it turned out. Now, I'm just using my paper snips to fussy cut these out. I don't mind fussy cutting. I actually really like it, but I understand if you don't. Now, that said, if you are fine with the kit just as is and you don't feel like you need to have any sort of imagery or characters, and when I say imagery, I mean like bringing in florals or hearts, or in this case, owls, right? But that's up to you. For me, I really felt like it needed something more than just the words for the card alternates. Now, here are the add-on card bases. This is the Good Things Cards and Envelopes add-on. This did sell out, but wow, was it fabulous. And what I'm doing is I'm taking all 4 colors of the card bases and I'm just matching them to these wraps from the kit. So what you're seeing here, these strips were the wraps that go around the gift box that come in the kit. Now here's what I won't be using from the kit in this video. I will not be using the tags, and I will not be using the gift boxes. So I will do a separate alternate video for that. But for this video, I wanted to work specifically on cards, and I knew I wanted to sort of mix and match these elements with the add-on card bases. Now, if you did not get a chance to get the add-on card bases, that is no problem. Just use the cardstock in the coordinating colors instead. So I think in this case that is Basic Gray, Balmy Blue, Mint Macaron, and Blushing Bride. And it doesn't have to be those. Those were just the colors of the add-on cards. If you want to make them your own, they could be Tahitian Tide, it could be Calypso Coral, it could be Basic White, you know, whatever you would want it to be. You could do a Crushed Curry card base, and if you can get ideas by looking at the gift box bases, one of the best things about this kit is that the gift boxes are double-sided, the wraps are double-sided. Okay, so there is an example of a box. Okay, and the wrap itself, I believe, was 3 by 7 inches. And what I wanted to do was trim it down to 5 inches. But instead of lumping it off on one side, I wanted to keep the score lines even, basically. I wanted to do at least one card where I did warm up these score lines, and I kind of wanted to play with dimension on that. So I decided to cut 1/2 inch strips, 2 of them from each side of the wrap. So you could do this however you want. I'm going to save these little 1/2 inch pieces for later. But basically the layout for all 4 cards is very similar. The wrap is left at the 3 inch mark, but I trimmed off the edges until it was at 5. So I trimmed off 4 1/2 inch edges from each wrap that I used on these alternate cards. This is the first one. This is one of the rectangle die cuts that coordinates, that has that, I was just talking about this in my Facebook Live. There's a sprinkle background in here in Pennsylvania, or I should say I grew up in Pittsburgh. We called them jimmies. And when I was saying that in my Facebook Live, several people told me that they call them jimmies too, and they are not from here. So I thought that was really cool. So let me know in the comments, do you say sprinkles or jimmies? I would love, love, love to know. Okay, now one of the other amazing things about this kit was the tear and tape that we got in there, the size. It is so thin, and I think we got these once before in a kit, and oh my gosh, I would love it if Stampin' Up! Would sell that size year round. They're so thin and precise. I love them. I will be cherishing this tear and tape from this kit. So cool. So what you see me doing here is going a little bit above and beyond. I wanted this owl to hold the die cut cupcake from the kit. I just, with the hat, the birthday hat, it was just too easy to do. I had to do it. So what I did was I poked a hole with my paper snips and then just trimmed around the wing, basically. Just one wing. We didn't have to worry about both. And then I just tucked the cupcake in. Now, the one thought that I did have with the alternates, and you guys can decide if this is something that you would want to do. The Paper Pumpkin team, they basically had, and you can see on the box that's in the upper left corner there that says good things with the little cupcake on it. It has 2 different sentiments on it. It has the main sentiment piece, and then it has a smaller tag. And that smaller tag, designed by the Paper Pumpkin team, had happy, happy birthday and this like cute little zigzag design. So I wanted to mimic that on my card base. And like I'm saying, I really did not want to use those little tags everywhere on my alternate cards. I would like to save those for something else. And I get why the Paper Pumpkin team did it, but for me and my style, I would not personally do 2 of those things on one small gift box like that. Like I get the idea, it's cute, but I would actually use that on something else. And that's why we have alternates and alternate videos, right? So what I did was that center piece, I warmed up the score lines. I put 5 Stampin' Dimensionals on the middle part. I put the tear and tape on the edges. So the middle part is popped up. The edges on either side are flat to the card base. I'm gluing this piece down and I'm using those stripes to kind of line that up and keep it even. I stamped Good Things, the sentiment, in garden green ink, as well as the happy, happy birthday. And now I placed my little owl next to the Good Things. So stamp the Good Things to the right and then place your little owl on the left. You're going to tuck that little cupcake right inside that little wing hand. And I used a mini dimensional actually behind that just to give it a little bit of dimension there. And I thought it was adorable. Now here's another thing that I'm going to be bringing into these cards today. These are the, oh gosh, they're like the For Everything sequins or fancy For Everything sequins. I will put a description. I'll have it on the blog. I will also put it here in the video. I'll have it in the description box. For Everything fancy sequins. Oh gosh, it's driving me crazy. I can't think of what it's called. Regardless, I'm taking some adhesive dots that I have from a different kit, and I'm using the dots to secure a couple of the pink sequins. But this trio of sequins comes in blue, green, and pink, and it is absolute perfection with this kit, particularly for the themes, the color coordination. I mean, it was meant to be. Now, the December 2022 Paper Pumpkin kit is a workhorse kit. It really is something that is designed for you to reference and use all year. You're using this for birthday, for baby, congratulations, graduation, encouragement, you did it, all of those different things. So when a special delivery could be for baby, but it could be for something else too. There's like a love theme in there, where it says like, I can't remember we do use the sentiment, but it's like forever, here's to forever, or something like that. Really, really cute. And then there's like, we'll get to that card with the love theme, but this is an all occasions concept here. And if you do take the time to sit down and make all your little gift boxes in advance, how wonderful will it be, particularly if you like New Year's resolutions, to get ahead on not only your card making for the year, but your little gift giving for the year. I mean, that's pretty cool. So this is Blushing Bride ink. And originally I was going to try to keep, to the themes as closely as I could from the Paper Pumpkin designs, but basically turning it into a card. So this is the Blushing Bride ink that I'm using here with special delivery. And then it says for your special delivery on that smaller piece. If I would have left it like that, I could have fit it in, but I kept like fiddling with it. And in the end, I decided not to use it. And I thought, well, this card could mean several different things. In this case, we could sort of change that sentiment. Now there is a stamp from the stamp set that says, "Oh baby," and that would have been adorable to use on this too. But if you don't want it to be specific to baby, what I'm trying to say is it doesn't necessarily have to be. This could be a spring card, and that could be special delivery for anything, including a birthday if you want. And you could stamp a birthday sentiment on the inside or something. Totally up to you. Now, you may have noticed that with these pre-printed sort of tags that I think were designed to go inside the box of the original boxes in the Paper Pumpkin kit, I like using them naturally as a layering element on these cards. I think they're perfect for that. But the die cut pieces that are used specifically for the sentiments, I don't know if you noticed, it fits perfectly. So if you are a layering person and you are a dimensional person, do you see how that just nests in there? Absolutely perfect. Look, it's identical. This is great for that. So if you want to save on the pieces, you want to be more conservative about it, don't worry about layering it. Just use the printed version. I like the layers. So I definitely wanted to use the layers there. I settled with my owl in the lower right corner. So you can see with in this case, the wrapper that is in that striped pattern there It's exactly the same where I trimmed it down to 5 inches. Now that pink base that I didn't get a chance to talk about, those flowers and those leaves are die cuts from the kit, by the way. This is where I was just getting to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm just not even going to include it. I thought about having the owl hold it, but it just would have covered so much of the detail that I just spent coloring, and I didn't want to do that. So I'm going to bring my sequins back in. We're going to add a little more sparkle to this card as well. But for that pink layer, that is actually an add-on card base cut in half. Now, the amazing thing about those add-on cards is that both sides of the card are printed in the color and the pattern, which means when you cut those in half and you use them for layers, you get 2 layers per card or more, just depending on the size that you cut it. I was thrilled with that, and you guys will have to let me know in the comments too. But like I said, if you don't have the add-on, that's okay. Just use the coordinating cardstock if you have it, or use a complimentary designer series paper that you have that maybe you would want to use with it. And so that became our special delivery card. Our next card is going to be our graduation card. And I actually did not grab the graduation theme wrapper, which is what I'm looking for here. I absolutely love the little graduation cap on the owl. And in my Facebook Live, I actually did the gift box version, and I colored the owl gray in the Facebook Live. And that was when I was like, I really think I'm going to do brown, for the alternates. But regardless, we are doing that same process where we're going to cut this lengthwise down to 5 inches. Now, it might not be super easy to see. It depends. You guys will have to let me know. But when I'm editing and when I'm doing voiceover, the screen is very small. I don't know if you can see in the detail of that layer that there is pops of white, Tahitian tide, and basic gray. So here is a basic gray card base that I just cut in half, and now I'm trimming that down to size, which I think the size I ended up really liking was 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, which gave a nice solid border around it. You still saw the card base, you still saw the layer, you still saw the detail of the wrapper, in this case as like sort of a DSP type thing. And here is where I was just absolutely falling in love with this owl being in this little circle. I thought it was so cute. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning to my channel, you most likely know that I love our In Color collection. And with Tahitian Tide, I could not resist bringing in this sparkly Tahitian Tide. I think it's called Woven Metallic Ribbon. It's really thin and malleable. It's really easy to work with. I like wrapping it on layers several times to kind of give a little more high impact shine, which is what we're going to do with this card. And I'm just tweaking the little graduation hat die cut from the kit just a little bit, just kind of separating the tassel so that the tassel can hang over the owl, and then the cap be kind of tucked behind his little feathery, head there. I didn't want to lose the detail of that. So I'm using basic gray and Tahitian Tide for the stamping for this card. Again, I am trying to stay close to the themes from the instructions in the Paper Pumpkin kit, but in card form. So by combining Congrats, You Did It, that is a similar combination that Paper Pumpkin did in their design as well. So this is me trying to stay close to the theme in the design, so that I can coordinate them with the boxes. For example, if I was giving somebody this card along with one of those gift boxes, you could do that. This is one of those die cut pieces I decided to cut in half, get a little bit creative, and basically create tags above and below our layer. Initially, I was going to do the circles where one was slightly higher and one was slightly lower. But in the end, I ended up just kind of keeping them level. And they're sort of in the same, one's not above the other. They're right next to each other. So I am going to wrap this several times, and then I'm going to adhere it down. Because this woven metallic ribbon is so thin, like so thin, it really doesn't affect, it doesn't get bulky in the back. It might look like it does, but it really doesn't. Now, the twine that comes in the kit is another story. It's basic rate twine. It's beautiful. I really like that stuff, particularly in this kit. And I did use that on one of the cards here in our alternates today, and that one was much bulkier. So with this one, I'm actually going to keep this flat to the card, but on the twine version, I am going to pop it up on dimensional. So it's up to you how you would want to do that, but I just wanted to mention that. Now, as I'm assembling this card, the one thing that I realized I haven't even talked about yet, and I'm 25 minutes in, so if you're still here, thank you. Not everybody makes it to the 25-minute mark. I appreciate you being here. I haven't gotten to talk about the January Paper Pumpkin Kit. So the January Paper Pumpkin Kit, which is called Key to My Heart, if you guys know about the Parisian sort of there's like this bridge where people would put locks on a bridge and they would throw a key into the water and it would like symbolize them. They would either make a wish or they would write a note, and they have all of these locks on this bridge. And I know that they've stopped doing that because it's not environmentally friendly, but that was where they came up with the theme for the January kit, which is so cute. And they also have an add-on for the January kit called Hart boxes, and those are equally adorable. Now, Paper Pumpkin doesn't do add-ons every month, but they did do one for December, and they are doing one for January. You have to be an active Paper Pumpkin subscriber to purchase add-ons, refills, past kits, and things like that. If you have not already subscribed to Paper Pumpkin, I have a link in the description box below where you can subscribe. If you want the January kit, which is a love theme kit, not necessarily just Valentine's Day, but it could cover that and more, then be sure to subscribe by January 10th. If you have any questions at all for me about Paper Pumpkin, please reach out to me. I am happy to answer any of your questions. And if you guys have any feedback for me, please either leave me a comment or feel free to email me. I love hearing from you. And let me know what you guys think of the alternate cards so far. I did try to keep these on the easy side. I would say the most work that went into these cards really was watercoloring the owls. But I really do feel like the owls bring just a little bit of adorable cuteness to these themes that we have going on, you know. I just this owl wearing this graduation cap, I can't get enough of it. So here are the blue sequins. All three of those sets of sequins come in the same pack, and they just couldn't be more perfect. I'm serious. I cannot recommend having these enough to go with this kit if you are planning on using this kit as sort of like a staple year-round piece. You can see I stamped Happy Graduation at the top and the bottom of that die cut piece. And then we have Congrats, You Did It on the center of the card. Now, one of the reasons why I have so many greetings and sentiments on these cards is because that's what Paper Pumpkin did on their little gift boxes, but they would have their sentiment and then they would have the little tag that had additional words on it. So I really wanted to try to keep that theme going as much as I could. Now you can see it is becoming a theme here that I am taking these card bases, I'm using the card bases, but I'm also cutting them up and using them as layers. Once I started doing that, I just kept doing it. So I love this add-on. I have to tell you. I'm sorry it's not still available, but if you do have it, or if you did buy multiples of it, good for you. And you will definitely be able to use it all year long. Now here is that basic gray twine that comes in the kit. I am wrapping it around several times. We're going to be using the basic gray polka dot side this time on the what would have been the wrap for the box, but what we are using as a layer, like a design, basically a designer series paper layer. To me, the score lines don't bother me. To me, it's like an added element of design or texture as part of the layer and as part of the card. But if that bothers you, you might be able to take the bone folder and either smooth that out, or you could trim it in different ways so that you aren't seeing the score lines. It didn't bother me personally. Or like the first card that we made, you can actually, kind of give it some dimension on your card. and fold some of those score lines if you would want to. So we're putting our layers down again. This piece I cut at 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. This is the Blushing Bride card base that's been trimmed down. This is that wrapper that has been only trimmed in length to 5 inches. Now this time I wanted to give the effect of a boy and a girl owl. So the boy owl with the green bow tie, and then the girl owl has the blue eyes. And that's really the only thing that like distinguishes her, as being a girl owl, because I wanted this to be a love theme. And here's that sentiment that I couldn't remember what it says. But I'll stamp it out in just a minute and we'll see what it says. But I wanted to make this owl a little more girly. So what I ended up doing was getting my basic black Stampin' Write marker again, or I really did use the journaling tip side, so I can say marker, but really feels like more of a pen. Oh, cheers to forever, which is so sweet. So if somebody is getting married, I feel like you could cover that for any of the wedding themes, or for love, or for anniversary, or, whatever it is that you're cheering to. But I wanted this to be a little owl couple. So I took the very thin tip side of the Stampin' Write marker in black, and I actually gave her a little bit more dramatic eyelashes, which I haven't done it yet. You'll see it in just a minute. And I added some lines around her eyes. So I just wanted to kind of set her apart a little bit and make her look a little bit more girly. I used Blushing Bride with the little With Love stamp, and then I just fussy cut it out. Now, here's where I made a pretty big mistake. I did not remember that I did not glue down that Cheers to Forever layer. So I kind of discovered it after the fact. I was kind of moving it when I was gluing my little owls down, and I was like, oh no. So I very clumsily put some tear and tape in there. And I left this part in. I probably should have edited it out, but I make mistakes too. I do it every video. So it's up to you. But the heads are just glued on with multi-purpose glue. And then I used a single Stampin' Dimensional on the bottom part of their bodies because I wanted the dimension to kind of remain intact for them, because they're kind of hanging half on and half off a popped up piece. So here I'm adding more of those sequins in pink. I really went crazy with the pink this time. And now you can see they're holding that heart with love, cheers to forever. So you can make this whatever theme you want. Here are those eyelashes sort of being added in. And then I was like, yeah, that's good. But I kind of did, I guess this would be like my version of eyeliner and mascara for an owl. You know what I mean? Just something a little bit different. I don't know. But I did like the way that it turned out. I thought it looked cute. So do you have to do that? No, but just very small touches like that can really add to a stamp, especially if you spend some time coloring it. All right. So now this is regular speed so that you can see these very well. You can see all the detail. You can see me taking my time setting them down. I'm going to actually be showing the 4 gift boxes now from the original Paper Pumpkin Team Designs, as well as my alternate gift box in addition to these cards. So like I was saying, if you want to see my Facebook Live version, you can go to my Facebook page. That's where that one is. And then of course, this is just specifically the alternates video. I'm hoping to do more with this card kit, but of course it is Christmas. I am filming this and voiceovering this on December 23rd. So I will be taking off Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with my family. I hope that you all have a very safe and Merry Christmas. I know the weather is crazy right now, but just be careful. Take care. I can't thank you enough for being here. This is that little alternate box that I made with the gray owl. So if you want gray, there you go. And there is a crushed curry like base on that little card box. Here was the Paper Pumpkin version of the baby gift box, which was so cute. And this was the one that really stuck out to me. That was the one that I was determined to do a coordinating card for. So I absolutely love the way that turned out. So the card is the alternate and the little gift boxes are the paper pumpkin designs, with the exception of the crushed curry version that I'm showing right there. All right. If you guys like paper pumpkin videos, stay tuned for the next video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. Merry Christmas.